Consequences could be coming for those reckless Senate Democrats who posted a video urging our American military to defy, quote, illegal orders, even though they couldn't name a single one. The Pentagon now is probing serious allegations of misconduct into Democratic Senator Mark Kelly, with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth saying he's considering recalling Kelly to active duty for possible court-martial, noting that Kelly's conduct, quote, brings discredit upon the armed forces and will be addressed appropriately. And then there's Michigan Senator Elissa Slotkin. She was completely unable to explain what illegal orders President Trump has supposedly issued. Watch this.
Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal.
Couldn't you have done a video saying just what you just said if you are asked to do something?
I think for us, it was just a statement widely, right? We say very quickly and to all the folks who come to us, this is the process. Go to your JAG officer, ask them for explanation, for top cover, for their view on things. If you going back to Nuremberg, right, that, well, they told me to do it, that's why I murdered people, is not an excuse. If you look at popular culture, there's like, you watch, A Few Good Men, like we have plenty of examples since World War II.
Jesse, I sort of wanted her to keep talking. I mean, what foolishness. This is a woman who won a year ago by 0.3 of a percentage point in Michigan, by 19,000 votes out of 5 million cast. And she speaks like this: I want the people of Michigan, Arizona to know their senators are interested in sound bites and social media screeds rather than facts and figures.
So I talked to 2 CIA officers who said that this is a part of a larger hoax, and what they're doing here is they're trying to condition the country to prepare for something bad that's about to happen at the hands of Donald Trump. It's straight out of the CIA playbook. It's a destabilization operation where you get people to mistrust each other. And you do this because she's an analyst. And as an analyst, she would make sure what propaganda operations were successful, which ones weren't. So she knows what works. So the first part of the video, you establish authority. I'm CIA, I'm military, you need to trust us. Second part of the video, they introduce the threat. And the threat's not foreign, the threat's domestic, the threat's Donald Trump. And then at the end, they introduce the solution. What's the solution? You resist, you say no. But they don't give an option. They say this is an obligation for you to do. Now, she is being run because she didn't come up with this herself. She's a Brennan acolyte, and you usually don't have congressmen and senators doing anything together. They kind of hate each other. So in order to organize this had to have had some sort of handler telling her what to do. And it was risky because nothing like this has ever been done in the history of the country. And you can even tell because the media was skeptical and they couldn't answer the question. So they hadn't even been read in on the operation. You see them fumbling and stumbling. And I'm glad that the U.S. military is now investigating this guy, Kelly, because this is what we expect from Donald Trump 2.0. You can't have the deep state interfering with a duly elected presidency and get away with it. You got to draw the line in the sand, and you have to make examples out of people.
Kennedy, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth today did say that they're going to investigate Mark Kelly. He retired as a captain. He was then he was an astronaut. He's an identical twin brother who's an astronaut. But there are special
twins experiment. Einstein.
The twins. There you go. Scott Kelly. There are special rules that you must follow if you're a former military. You're always military if you're retired military. And Hegseth and Department of War are looking into that and saying this guy, who doesn't do much in the United States Senate, may actually have to go back to active duty. Where do you think that's headed?
Yes, I think that Senator Kelly might have violated the FAFO doctrine, and he's going to find out the hard way that there, unfortunately, are consequences because, these people aren't civilians. They have sworn an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, and they know what that means. They know what that means a lot better than we civilians do, but they make a video like this trying to make a plea to people in the armed forces, and what they're really trying to do is imply that things that you might disagree with are also illegal, although there's actually quite a big gulf there. And there may be things about bombing boats in the Caribbean that I have an issue with. I may have an issue with that morally and philosophically, but I have not sworn an oath to the Constitution. So I'm not on the same ground that the warriors and the people in harm's way are. They know what they're getting into, but what these people are trying to do, they're trying to confuse them. And everyone I've spoken to in the military who is serving or who has served, they are so disgusted by this whole thing because, to Jesse's point, they see it all as a giant manipulation that it doesn't elevate the conversation. It doesn't make us safer. It doesn't make things better. And the destabilization may have catastrophic consequences for unstable people who are serving, who feel now that it's perfectly okay to violate the chain of command. That can have dire and fatal consequences.
Jessica, don't you wish you can roll the tape and delete this? This is not the finest moment. And in fact, if you are saying the commander-in-chief is giving illegal orders and he's not, that itself is illegal because you're telling people to not comply with laws that Hegseth today said are presumed to be lawful.
There's nothing in the video that says, I want you to defy lawful orders. It's reminding people that in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, you have a sworn duty to not comply with unlawful orders.
And what would those be?
Senator Slotkin gave an interview to TMZ where she did talk about what could potentially fall into those categories. As Kennedy said, bombing boats in the Caribbean when you don't know who's actually in those boats. And we don't know why General Halsey, who was the head of the Southern Command, actually resigned from that post. We'll eventually find out what that is. They go back to 2020 when Donald Trump said shoot protesters in the legs, and Mark Esper said we're absolutely not doing things like that. Concerned that people who are serving right now have come to tell these veteran representatives that they feel like sending troops into American cities and possibly being pitted against American citizens are things that could fall into these categories. And Jesse said, you know, they're doing this to sow discord and distrust amongst American citizens. Now, I think what's really sowing distrust and discord amongst American citizens is the fact that the America First movement online is a bunch of bot farms, and it's coming from Nigeria, and it's coming from Russia and Iran, but no one seems to really care about that. They want to talk about these veterans. And Pete Hegseth is proving...
What famous person on the right is from overseas?
I'm not sure. Not Benny Johnson, MAGA cult slayer.
Who?
Look at
MAGA
the
cult
accounts.
slayer?
Wait, is he related to Todd Starnes?
Listen,
never even heard of him.
Pete Hegseth is proving these Democrats' point with this idea of bringing Mark Kelly in and then possibly leading to a court-martial. Because if that's what they're going to do to a sitting senator, then think about what a junior officer who's concerned about the orders that he's getting is going to face if he does go to his JAG officer. And these representatives have said that they are hearing from folks on the ground that they are concerned about the like,
so wait a second.
The former CIA officer is telling you what she's hearing?
A psyop.
Too many ifs.
Yeah,
Remember
okay.
when AOC was letting undocumented people know their rights? And she said, here's a list of things that you are entitled to by being here, even if you are in this country illegally. And they said that the AOC was committing a crime, that she was trying to tell people to do illegal things and evade ICE when she was just telling you what your rights are. And these Democrats are doing the same thing. They're saying this is what your constitutional oath means.
Greg, a lot of ifs here.
Yeah, okay. I just have to remind everybody that they've lost all credibility. This is the same machinery that denied Hunter's laptop and claimed that that Joe Biden was fit for duty. So we have no obligation to believe that they are hearing from folks on the ground. A CIA analyst, are you serious? Look, this was another unnecessary solution to an imaginary problem. It's much like finding a 7-year-old who is confused and saying, you know what you have? You're born in the wrong body. We need to chop off your junk. They always create an unnecessary solution to an imaginary problem. The Dems pretty much admit that, okay? Number one, once they got called on it, as Jessica says, it was a video that was just pronouncing things that were obvious to everybody. So obvious, in fact, that it's in the manual. So why did you do it? And then why, when you did it, you didn't have any evidence to back it up other than hearsay, this and that. I've heard from people. So the point of creating an imaginary problem is so that you imagine the problem in your head. Troops torching small villages like they see in movies, when in fact the only people torching villages in the United States are leftists. It is especially pathetic and hilarious that Slotkin could only bring up a movie. As good as it gets, A Few Good Men, wrong Nicholson film. A Few Good Men to provide evidence for this, to make a shocking national pronouncement. Okay, can I say this? Over the weekend, I watched Alien. It's a classic movie, and I just want to point out that if you have any stomach pain, it might not be indigestion. It could be a giant, monstrous alien creature living inside your bowels, because that makes about as much sense as her citing a movie loosely based on a hazing incident in Gitmo. Now, you give them too much credit for this psyop. They're not that smart. I think they were just trying to tweak Trump, and for better or for worse, they pretty much achieved it. To me, they're like Antifa burning an American flag, hoping that these patriotic counter-protesters attack so they can press charges. This was all about getting something. But that even when I say that, I think that's giving them too much credit. They just might be ass wipes.
It's organized, though, because senators and congressmen don't talk to each other. And these are the only, no, they don't. And they're the only people who really served in these intelligence-laden fields. Delta Force, CIA, Navy, come on. This was organized.